This is a more edited reading of Chapter 6, Just Be Kind, about the Be Kind mnemonic mantra from my book, Paradoxical Wisdom, Just Be Kind, and we'll begin with this. This book's core curriculum or take-home message is the simple mantra, Be Kind. A mantra is a complex and practical way of reminding and guiding ourselves to return to and stay in a measure of centered, integrated, and paradoxical wisdom as often and as long as we can. As you can see, the Be Kind method serves as a mnemonic as well. This is my wildly audacious attempt to distill the small part of what I know about the wisdom of the ages into an even more useful, comprehensive, multidimensional, repeatable, and instructive mantra mnemonic. Some of the world's most ancient and worthy traditions go so far as to distill the essence of wisdom into a single word or principle such as love, the present moment, the golden mean, insight, faith, gratitude, detachment, humility, devotion, acceptance, awakening, or such. All of these are worthy, indeed. Like many others, however, I've found that the essence of paradoxical wisdom is simultaneously simple and complex, singular and multiple. It's a nearly ineffable, poetic, and ever-dynamic reconciliation and integration of 7 essential factors, not just one. Most of what we perceive as external provocations or aggravations are mere figments of our projective imaginations. We complain that others and or reality have stepped on and violated one of our precious little illusions. Many of the 9 out of 10 unawakened types of us walk around with this unconscious and projective chip on their shoulders, ready to take unwarranted offense at the slightest imagined or real flicker of disrespect for their larger-than-life sense of self. They discern these flickers from mere shadows on the back walls of Plato's cave. Anyone can escalate such self-concocted quandaries. It's all too easy to complain, destroy, oppose, fight, and split apart. In so doing, we forget that it takes 2 to fight, and we ignore our own hand in instigating and continuing conflicts. In contrast, calming a situation and escorting a cruel and negative scene into a reconciliation, kindness, collaboration, or even a mutual epiphany, now that takes skill, insight, and elegance. The habit of initial and prevalent kindness has far more important internal payoffs. As we've discussed, outer aggression may be satisfying or satisfying, but it only gratifies, justifies, and emboldens the inner, immature, and illusion-laden self-attacker all the more. Each time he or she witnesses our self-serving, win-lose, and often mistaken conscious attacks on reality, ourselves, and others, he concludes that his childish, disastrously erroneous, and dualistic misassumptions are legitimate. As a result, he grows into an even more self-confirmed, arrogant, formidable, abusive, and emboldened self-attacker indeed. Like Pogo, we have met the enemy, and the enemy is ourselves. An air of kindness thus calms, soothes, buffers, and disarms our inner attacker. Isn't that the point? To train ourselves to be consistently kind to ourselves. In the language of paradoxes, we need to become gently, lovingly, compassionately, and collaboratively self-critical. The habit of predominant kindness enables us to establish and maintain an enduring, nurturing, and healing internal environment of forgiveness. Rather than reflexively and harshly rebuking ourselves each time we stumble, we can gently and kindly forgive our inevitable and foolish shortcomings, errors, failures, and human nature. Forgiveness enables us to utilize mistakes as opportunities. As we get better at predominant patience and tolerance towards ourselves, we become more forgiving and kindly towards others as well. We may even come to forgive the non-personified universe itself for thoughtlessly placing us in this vast, enigmatic, and painful con game in the first place. If we decipher the cosmic con game, we might come to even appreciate it for the ultimate pleasurable, painful, and lifelong learning opportunity that it really is. We might be able to settle thereby into a quiet, accepting, and good-natured enjoyment of all that's beautifully terrible about the full catastrophe, as Zorba the Greek says. John Kabat-Zinn calls it full catastrophe living. It couldn't be otherwise. It's always been this way. When we accomplish this inner awakening, we actually go far beyond forgiveness. We even become grateful for the illuminating pain of each setback, loss, tragedy, adversity, conflict, and defeat. We go beyond merely and brashly daring the cosmos to hit me with your best shot. We arrive at the paradoxical realm of grateful and unreasonable happiness. Each letter of the mnemonic stands for one or two of the 7 basic elements of enlightenment that I've been able to discern. Maybe 7 steps are simpler than traditional 12-step programs. Maybe they're not. So here it is, the whole Be Kind 7-step program for paradoxical wisdom, all spelled out. B stands for balance, paradoxical centeredness, integration, reconciliation, fusion, compromise, collaboration, convergence, coming together. E stands for embrace or acceptance, equanimity and serenity. Amidst this acceptance and celebration of ourselves and what is, of the beautiful and the terrible, the positives and the negatives, the successes as well as the failures. K stands for kindness, love, closeness, caressing, compassion, nurturance, collaboration, diplomacy, devotion, forgiveness, gratitude, optimism, humor, curiosity, and creativity. I stands for insight, self-reflection, self-reliance, self-solutions. It's an inside job. What is it about ourselves that we can change? We instigate, create, and preserve our own happiness as well as our unhappiness. N stands for now. Drop into the all-at-once and condensed eternity of this present and only moment. D stands for both disillusionment and deflation. We detach from illusions, especially of self-aggrandizement. Deflation and humility means getting over ourselves, settling for and learning to want simply what is. Perhaps Be Kind, as a mnemonic, should acknowledge and honor each of these D's separately by including them both and going as B-E-K-I-N-D-D. I've contrived the letters of Be Kind in order to form a memorable and useful sentence. I don't mean thereby to suggest a linear, rigid, and stepwise sequence to this all-at-once process of awakening. In harmony with the instantaneous nature of the universe and consciousness, all 7 elements and even their integrated opposites harmonize equally and simultaneously. Let's implement this relationship-saving, career-saving, and even life-saving mantra mnemonic. It's really very simple. We can train ourselves to automatically consider and act on these 7 elements of enlightenment spontaneously, simultaneously, accurately, and in real time. First, we memorize the letters and meanings. We recite the expanded meanings of the letters to ourselves until they become so etched in our minds that they become our default mode, our new instinct. Then for years we methodically and silently pause and say, "Be kind," to ourselves before we speak or act in our customary dualistic, competitive, self-aggrandizing, and win-lose sort of way. We can even learn to consider multiple be kind alternative responses before we speak or act. This is the be kind pause. Such a delayed and thoughtful platform from which we can behave is like being in a constant meditative and mindful state of mind while we perform with paradoxical wisdom. This ingenious and instantaneous pause enables us to act with predominant astuteness, diplomacy, balance, kindness, and humor. At first, this process is quite slow and awkward, like learning any new dance, sport, skill, language, or such. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Square up, step in, and follow through. As we face each situation, we pause and repeat, be kind. As we're learning this method, we actually have to slowly and awkwardly break down each dilemma or conflict into these 7 overlapping factors. Later, like any skill, this process becomes automatic and integrated. This is when these 7 steps come together, coordinate, harmonize, and fuse into a single, centered, nonverbal, and silent symphony. This is when we've arrived at being fully trained in the paradoxical art of the Be Kind method. Hard-won and methodical wisdom becomes our well-trained, reflexive, wordless, and mindless intuition. We're in the zone. We've become one with the paradoxical universe. This is when we really get rhythm. It's when unreasonable happiness really shines. It's that simple, but it takes time, training, and practice. In fact, it's doubtful that we can ever enter into such inexpressible and paradoxical wisdom without first entering into some sort of lengthy, disciplined, and rigorous training. We can even express and embody the fullness of enlightenment within a simple gesture, expression, move, or posture. These are shorthand ways of simultaneously embodying these 7 Be Kind principles. For example, we can sit in a centered and balanced posture, or we can walk slowly in meditation. We can form our hands together or cross them over our hearts. We can combine this with bowing or kneeling. We can do Tai Chi, for example. Any such centered, mindful, and humble posture, expression, gesture, or movement will do as we harmonize with the exquisitely balanced and paradoxical wisdom. This Be Kind blueprint or template is only one of many such throughout the disparate cultures of history. To most, such paradoxical wisdom seems silly, impractical, trite, mundane, oversimplified, pretentious, and foolish. Not another platitude, please. Get your head out of the clouds. What drugs are you on? It takes an unusual mind to discern and embrace such foolish wisdom. And I think we'll stop there. The book goes on with other examples.